One may say that it might be too late for me to have a welcome service today, especially after almost a year since my first day at the LJS as a rabbi, and almost 3 years since I started my rabbinic involvement with the LJS as a student rabbi. On the other hand, each service nowadays feels to me like the first one, especially since the beginning of the lockdown. Today we rediscover and reshape our services and classes. The purpose of Jewish prayer, the key aspects of Judaism. People are watching Jewish prayer online, and it made Judaism come to people's homes. So in a way, this service is not only for you to welcome me as a new LJS rabbi, but for me to welcome you to my home, or at least one corner of my home, which I keep tidy, in a way which I keep kadosh, especially dedicated to rabbinic service. This service for me is also a chance to say thank you. I'm endlessly grateful for the welcoming and caring community, for the meaningful relationships I've been blessed with at the LJS, for my colleagues, my teachers, my students, for the fact that sometimes it is the same person who I work with, who I share my thoughts with, and with whom I study. I've been truly blessed by the support bubble of almost 2,000 people of the LJS community from the very beginning of the lockdown. Almost 3 years ago, I came to the LJS as a student. If then somebody told me then that I would be a rabbi here, I would probably laugh. How can I, a Russian Jew, a person from far away, an outsider, be a part of the synagogue with such legacy and caliber? The famous 3 M's of the LJS, Lily Montague, Claude Montefiore, and Israel Mattock, are the names I read about in books before I arrived to the UK. The World Union for Progressive Judaism, the organization which nurtured me so much in my Jewish journey, was established by members and founders of this community. How can I be part of it? Perhaps a Yiddish saying is right. People plan, God loves. January 1899, Lily Montague wrote an article in Jewish Quarterly Review. The article is entitled Spiritual Possibilities of Judaism Today. She wrote, "No fresh discovery can be made exactly on the lines of the past. The temperament of one generation differs that from another, and life is only possible when it can adapt itself to environment. Let us dare to speak with courage to our brothers and sisters and to our sons and daughters. Let us bid them not hesitate in their search after the divine, because they use data and methods not already tried by their ancestors. Judaism is strong enough and wide enough to inspire them and their children forever. The way how we name things matter. When we call our children future generation, we may disempower them from taking an active part in our lives today. Sometimes all we need to do is to listen, give us space, and not to be an obstacle to others. Judaism is strong enough and wide enough to inspire everybody and to include everyone forever." January 1912. In his induction service, Rabbi Israel Mattock said, Life is the aim of religion. It is the subject of religion. There are a few verses recurring with a frequency in the book of Deuteronomy that make them almost a refrain. that are the embodiment of this idea. The purpose they ascribe to the commandments is the life of people and the welfare of people, for your good, and that you may live, are to be found in almost every chapter of this prophetic book. They say that Judaism is a verb, a call to action. Jewish way is a way of life. Jewish aim is to make people safe and happy. Jewish values are for people's good, regardless of their class, nation, political views, color of their skin, or gender. 1921. In his article, The Positive Elements of Liberal Judaism, Claude Montefiore wrote, I happened to be speaking about liberal Judaism to a few undergraduates at Oxford, who were in sympathy with our movement, but told me of the difficulty that liberal Judaism did not seem sufficiently positive a religion. He replied, to impress righteousness and love with a passion for Jewish sentiment, to unite the love of people with the love of God, may be harder than to observe the minutiae of the dietary laws, but is no less positive. The legacy of Judaism is a positive way of life which demands justice, truth, and peace. In the beginning I said that it is a privilege for me to be a part of the LJS. Well, I don't think it's only a metaphorical way to say how lucky I am, but it was a literal privilege as well. Some of you may know that it took me over 6 months to sort out my visa, to obtain the leave to remain in this country. The amount of support I received from my community was overwhelming, both practical and mental. Every step in the journey towards the visa required lots of time and money. I was fortunate to be able to work and to have the support I had from the community. The question I had all the way through was, what about others? What about those who don't have the same privilege? Before the lockdown, you could see people coming to the LJS monthly drop-in center for asylum seekers and refugees. Many of them are in a similar position than I was. What about them? What about others who don't have the right to work, who can't afford an immigration lawyer? Well, this question and this issue look like a giant to me, like those Nephilim which spies encountered in the Promised Land. It may not be possible to change the current situation. The task is overwhelming. And it is probably not a rabbi's job to do it anyway. But I believe that it would be a sin for me not to try to make this world better. I believe that it would be a sin for me not to ask for people's help to change the system which treats asylum seekers and refugees as a burden and unwanted guests. I have other giants as an inspiration, a positive giants of Judaism, the giants of Jewish tradition of the past, who had a hope that one day we will live in the world which is wise, loving, compassionate, and caring for everybody. The liberal Judaism started with a strong ethical and intellectual foundation, with the 3 pillars of the 3M: Montague, Montefiore, and Matek. Today our task is not only to receive this message, but take it further and extend one letter M to the whole alphabet of our lives. I'm certain that it is already happening, together with my colleagues, exceptional rabbis, like Alexandra Wright and Alana Delal, and not least because the first letters of our names. But I believe that we will be able to include all, from A to Z. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you again for everybody.
Thank you, Igor. Stay with us for a bit with your camera. Please don't disappear off the bima. Because my dear Igor, at this moment, you're probably thinking that we will move smoothly onto the Aleinu and Kaddish. But this is an important moment for us as your community and for you as our rabbi. And although, as I said earlier, you need no welcome, for you have become so much a part of the liberal Jewish synagogue, so hugely appreciated for your intellect, your originality, your warm and open personality, and your sense of humor, it is important for us to acknowledge what you have already brought to us and the hopes and vision you carry for our future. And to all our Russian speakers, please excuse this next bit. Уважаемый Igor, в данный момент вы, вероятно, думаете, что мы плавно перейдем к Aleinu и Кадишу. Но это важный момент для нас, как для вашего субжичества и для вас, как нашего раввина. И хотя, как я сказал ранее, вам не нужно приветствовать вас потому, что вы стали частью либеральной еврейской синагоги. Так высоко ценимой за ваш интеллект, вашу оригинальность, вашу теплую и открытую личность и ваше чувство юмора. Это важно для мы должны признать то, что вы уже принесли нам, и ваши надежды и видение нашего будущего. You can tell me where I went wrong afterwards, Igor. At this moment, if we were in the synagogue, we would probably take one of the scrolls out of the ark and hand it to you for a prayer. As that's not possible, please allow me to mark this moment symbolically with a prayer and then an invitation to some special guests. Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, v'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et harav, morenu Rabbi Yehonatan ben Victor v'Helena, bavo she'ala lichvod haTorah v'lichvod haShabbat. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Igor, who in righteousness and humility have answered the call to become our rabbi at the liberal Jewish synagogue. May you find inspiration and strength in serving God, fulfillment and joy in attending to the needs of our fellow human beings, encouragement and creativity through continual learning and teaching, and a sense of God's purpose as you listen and offer support to all those who seek your help. Who may ascend the mountain of the Eternal One, who may stand in God's holy place, he who has clean hands and a pure heart, he shall receive blessings from the eternal God and justice from the God of his salvation. Such is the destiny of those who seek you, who seek your presence, O God of Jacob. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will, and let us all join together and say, Amen. And Igor, you don't need to say anything here, but just keep your screen on, because I think that Graham now has a little surprise for you. So over to you, Graham.
All the way from Haifa, Israel, it is an honor for me to share with you at this moment a blessing. Make for yourself a rabbi, and in your case you have made of yourself a rabbi, and now in a congregation who will be there to receive the special and unique gifts you are sharing with the world. And the sayings of the fathers continue and acquire a friendship. And so our friendship has grown from strength to strength. From all the Ben Chorin family here in Haifa, sending you a warm Mazal Tov, Shabbat Shalom.
Дорогой Игорь, от имени Челябинской общины я сердечно поздравляю тебя с новым этапом твоей жизни. Я искренне рад, что теперь очень много людей могут называть тебя своим раввином. Мазал тов и так держать.
Dear Rabbi Igor, what a beautiful and wonderful occasion. In these crazy and challenging times, the Jewish people need compassionate, courageous, and knowledgeable leadership. How lucky is LJS that they have found you, and how lucky are you to find a congregation that can become your home. Wishing you many, many years of Torah, of Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim. Mazal Tov.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to wish Rabbi Igor all the very best in his role as one of the rabbis at LJS, sharing the responsibilities with Rabbi Alex and following in the footsteps of, amongst others, Rabbis Matek, Mann, Rayner, and Goldberg. Having worked with you, Igor, I know that your creativity and love of Judaism, as well as your understanding of the world at large, will make you a true and wise leader who serves his community in particular and the Jewish people in general with real compassion and loving kindness. May your life be full of joy, health, and happiness. Wishing you a hearty Mazal Tov. Shabbat Shalom.
I'd like to invite our chairman of the Liberal Jewish Synagogue, Sue Head, to address a few words to Igor on behalf of the congregation. So Sue, if you would like to unmute yourself and turn on your camera.
I think I have got a technical hitch because I've turned, there it is, inevitably for these times. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Igor, it gives me enormous pleasure to welcome you officially to the LJS on behalf of the council and also on behalf of all the members and friends that are our community. Some may feel probably quite rightly that we have been remiss not to have done it sooner, but the advantage of doing it now and online, as we've demonstrated, is that we can include friends and family from around the world into this service, and this wouldn't have been possible if we were welcoming you just into the building. As you pointed out, the LJS community has been part of your rabbinic journey over the last 3 years, from our first meeting you as a student, to your ordination last year, and then to your becoming one of our rabbis. In some ways, and I hope this doesn't seem too far-fetched, this period for us can be compared with the Jews of the time of the exile in Babylon, waiting to return to Jerusalem. We are waiting with anticipation to return to our beloved sanctuary and the LJS. The prophets and teachers of the time were important in keeping the community together and giving the people hope in the exile and hope for the future. We've looked to the rabbinic team during the lockdown to give us hope. Although this is your official welcome service, Igor, you're already playing a key role in keeping this community together, not just with the technology, for which we are all hugely grateful, but for your words of rabbinic wisdom to which we look forward each Shabbat, and which we've seen again in the sermon this morning. The book of Jeremiah has God's pledge of a future of promise after the exile and says, "Then I will give you shepherds after my own heart, who will lead you with knowledge and understanding." This is the essence of being a rabbi. The LJS is very fortunate to have you, Igor, as one of our rabbis and a leader of our community. Yours is the voice of the future of progressive Judaism, as you have demonstrated today. And we welcome you and we say to you, Baruch haba.
I can only say thank you, spasiba, and toda rabba. And I'm deeply touched, and I'll probably say more later when I realize what just happened.